Jeff Rust over there
Hey.
cooking in the 2-chair. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, doing well.
Jordan Schultz behind the glass. Schultzy, thanks for riding with us today.
Love it. No problem. Happy Thursday, guys.
Danny is out. He's doing covert operations. I think that's what we're going to call it. Just covert operations.
Is that from inside Yamhill County?
See James Bond? Did he sneak into the PSU library? What's going on?
If there's one place I know he is not, it is the PSU library.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
I feel like if there's
That's a
a
sure thing.
person that I know that is not in that library, it is Danny.
Mr. Meringue.
Yeah. No, he's out today, and it is it truly is. It's a work-related covert operation that he is in. I can't say anything because he may or may not kill me.
Yeah, I'd be
Because of
afraid of
it.
that too.
Wait, just because of this, or on
Well, I
just
mean-
like every day?
Well,
Okay.
I've said this before. There are certain people in your life that you want to make sure that are cool with you.
Yeah.
For those moments when they just snap.
Gotta have a guy.
For those moments when they just snap. Be like, you know what? This guy's been cool. I'm gonna leave him alone.
That is workplace very important.
Yeah.
Very important. I feel like we work in a safe workplace.
Mm-hmm. Now that McGinley's gone.
There are several people I still hold very close, just in case. Just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Danny's one. Swag is one.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I love them. I love them dearly. But you know, you don't ever want to be on the bad side of anybody,
No.
especially when they reach their breaking point.
Exactly. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I almost reached my breaking point today. I had a frustrating morning. I had a very frustrating morning. Do you guys are both married?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever take your wedding rings off?
Yes.
You do?
Only if I'm handling raw meat, basically.
Yeah. To clean, I don't like doing the dishes or anything with the wedding ring on. So, but that was a drop.
Yep, there is. Oh, you don't like doing the dishes with them?
No,
on.
it gets weird, and I don't want stuff under the ring.
Yeah.
So I just
Okay.
take it off.
Well, I only take it off 2 times. Like when I'm going to shower,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I work out. I took my wedding ring off. No idea where it went. It
Oh,
was
no.
gone. I was like, I had that. Oh no,
Oh no.
like this is not good. Like I keep it in 2 places. Well, 3. Finger.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a
That's
good
one.
one.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
That's number 1. And then I keep it on the bathroom counter in a specific place.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm working out, I put it in a very specific place.
Right.
Okay, because I work out in my garage, and it's a dungeon, or dojo, if you will.
Dusty's Dojo.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
Dusty's Workout Dojo.
We got to put that in LP's ear for a good Father's Day gift.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Just like maybe a little sign.
Yeah.
That won't make me ever want to go in there ever again. I would look at that and I'd just be like, I am out. I do not want to be in here anymore. If I have, it's like, yeah, all right, it's lost its luster.
Pretty
here.
soon your garage is going to look like Colin Farrell's apartment in Horrible Bosses.
That's right. Yeah. Or Kenny Powers' little workout room, his dojo's workout dojo. Yeah, I'm out. I would be done at that point. That would get me to stop working out.
All right.
If I'm quite honest, there's things that I'm just like out. Nope.
So if I
Don't
want to make
do
you
it.
fat and get you that sign, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Check.
That's right. It was not in either of the 3 places I keep my wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
Gone, lost. And I was just like, oh boy, this is going to be a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have a nice wedding ring? Because mine's platinum. Everybody nowadays is, I got the tungsten. It was like $100. But I'm just like, screw you. I want an actual wedding ring.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. My finger hasn't turned green, so I'm going to go with, yeah.
it's nice.
I went with the
Yeah.
platinum.
I did. I have no idea what mine is.
How? I mean, it sounds like we're all kind of highfalutin here. We got like actual medals on our finger. That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to rule anything out, but it hasn't turned my finger green, so I'm assuming that it's pretty nice.
There we
I
go.
was very out on this process of picking this wedding ring out.
Oh, I picked mine because I was like, I want a couple diamonds in mine.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Damn, that's the Italian coming out in Jeff
Right?
Rust
Yeah.
right there.
I got like 3 little diamonds in there.
Yeah, you do look like a mob boss. It's pretty hot.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Kiss
You do.
the ring.
You
Kiss
do.
the ring.
I found this thing wedged in like the stairs.
Oh no.
Like we got carpet on our stairs, just like wedged in a crease.
Yeah.
I would have never found it had my anger not led me to throwing my keys at my stairs.
So it's just right next to it.
It was like 2 stairs above. I was like, hey, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you,
Yeah.
temper.
Right.
Having a temper tantrum, found my keys.
There we go. See?
Awesome.
Sometimes letting go of your anger is good. You got to let it go.
That's
Let
right.
it out.
I held my anger on my drive in because sun comes out for the slightest part of a day in Oregon.
Yeah.
And people are running everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the things. We have a healthy city here.
Yeah.
And might I add, more active runners around kind of our area when the sun has been out recently, which tells me they're kind of cleaning things up because when we first moved down here, nobody was going outside. Like nobody. It was like,
Yeah.
not doing that. So I have, we're on like the grid streets here,
Uh-huh.
right? I have clear shot, no stop sign. This woman comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she just headphones in. She's just running down the street and she's coming from across and she crosses the middle of the street. I slam on my brakes. She flips me off.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to, you teach your kids to look in the street before you cross.
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, yes, you kind of technically have the right of way, but you still got to be safe.
Well,
you moron.
you have to slow down at the crosswalk.
Yeah.
This,
You don't just go charging out there.
It was near, there's a Safeway down around here. And so there was a big truck.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there's a big truck kind of blocking where I was, where I could see the street. So I had no idea where she was even coming from.
Man.
She just, like, out of nowhere.
And this is on a one-way street too.
Yeah, yeah. It was, but I got flipped off for it.
Yeah.
Jerk.
I was like, I would have stopped had I seen you.
Yeah.
But you pop out from behind this big old truck and then you flip me off?
I got a bit of an inappropriate finger from a lady driver the other day, too.
All
It
right.
was one of those where she saw that her lane was ending and getting ready to merge, so she decided that she wanted to speed up and get up ahead of me.
Ooh,
Yeah, no. that
Not
doesn't-
gonna happen.
no.
Daddy doesn't allow that. And so I came up and she kept coming up and she tried to pass me and I sped up a little bit and then she had to slow down. And as she slowed down, she gave me the old digit. I was like, are you
Yeah.
serious right now?
You know, Dusty,
Yeah.
I literally, I didn't
Waving and smiling really helps in that.
I didn't almost hit somebody, but I did have going the opposite way back out to 405 from our station. It's another one way. Essentially, people just walk into the crosswalk all the time without looking, without stopping. And I don't know if that's like a Portland thing. Just this highfalutin, like, no, I have the right of way because I am a pedestrian. It's like, yo, we all got to stop, look, and listen to each other. We've got to make eye contact. I appreciate the nod. But then if I'm like kind of going at a normal speed and they just keep walking, they glare at me like I was going to hit them. And it's like, you're the jerk here. You're the
Well, it's like,
ass.
how around downtown there
You went
was.
from like saving the world there. We all
Yeah.
need to look, listen, and appreciate each other.
Yeah, to go in Grand Theft Auto on the pedestrians.
Yeah, I might run somebody
No, no,
over.
no, I
That
don't-
was that was an adventure, Schultze. I'm not gonna lie. Like you took me for a ride right there. I was like, Schultze's changing the world. Whoa,
Yeah.
he
Welcome to my
might
brain.
run somebody over.
I don't want to run them over, but I do want to yell at them. Hey, let's all be courteous to each other. It's not my fault.
So I feel like, around downtown there was, or maybe still is, the fare free zone for the Max and the buses and such, right? I feel like also around that pedestrian wise, it's the F free zone. Just nobody has any Fs to give. So
Ooh, yeah.
they just walk out
Yeah.
into the crosswalks.
There has been the police usually get them to move along, but there's like where two roads kind of meet. There's a stop sign, and it's right near that 405 merger
that
there.
happens sometimes when two roads meet.
That's right. There's a stoplight. There's a guy who, in like this little wedge, he's panhandling,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
but
Not
he's,
enough space for
he's
it.
in a wheelchair, and so he is like in traffic.
Yes.
And I'm like, buddy, there's gonna be some drivers that do
Oh.
that's not safe.
And I'm trying to squeeze through there in that big ass silver Dodge pickup too.
Now, here's where he got me one day. I'm a few cars back and I see like a police officer come up and like, hey man, like I get it, but you can't be right here.
Yeah.
You're like in a median, there's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
He's in his wheelchair and I'm like, oh, he's gonna wheel off. Nope, stands up, gets out, and throws his sign and his belongings in the wheelchair and just starts pushing it along. I was like, guys, got a plan. Like it was just somewhere to sit.
Eddie Murphy in Trading Places.
It was kind of, yeah. It was like it was literally a chair for him to sit in. It was just a wheelchair. I was like, I wonder how many people are like giving him the money not because he's panhandling and a person in need, but
right.
because he's a disabled person in need too. And then he gets up and starts pushing the chair along, and I was like, huh. I wonder.
I guess he's got it figured out.
He's got it. He got it. All right.
This is making me. Next time I see people just walk in, I'm gonna be like, "Hey guys," I'm not gonna yell at them. Be like, "Hey, it'd be nice, eye contact, something," and then I'll probably get the bird too.
Yeah, try to pay attention to what's around you.
That's right. Pay attention to what's around you.
Yeah.
All right, we got a locked loaded show. Audio at 1:30 for our worst day on the web. Somebody's going through it on the internet today.
Yes.
And
certainly.
yesterday.
Since the weekend.
Well, even before the week.
Yeah.
The audio that we have from Ryan Garcia, the now popped for PED's boxer.
Yeah. Very stable boxer.
Holy smokes. But then you read his Twitter feed in which this video is on, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
On brand.
Yes.
We're gonna go on that ride coming up at 1:30. 2:15, we've got a very special guest coming on. He is the head coach at Southern Oregon University. He's a football coach, Burke Brown. They're doing something really cool this weekend. They are the only college football team in America that is playing against an opponent. Their opponent is the national champion from Japan. And they are bringing back, because it has historical markers, because former SOU coach Chuck Mills back in the 80s, the Heisman Trophy of Japan is named after him.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they used to have this series where they would go back and forth from Japan and Ashland. It's been gone for almost 40 years. They're bringing it back, and it's this weekend. So it's a really cool story behind it. Burke's a good dude, former teammate of mine, and he's going to hop on with us and give us a little bit of the background on it. It's a really cool story, and it's going to be a really cool event. I just hope the Raiders win. I mean, you can't take this L, right?
Yeah, well, because I've been sitting on that one since 1987.
You've been sitting that one. Yeah. We're undefeated so far. We can't take this L now. I think they're 3-0. They're not?
I don't think so.
We took a loss in this? Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
The 1987 season, KGU defeated SOU 27-9.
That's where we stopped. It's a good thing we stopped. But we're gonna talk with Burke coming up at 2:15. We've got a lot of NBA and NFL that we need to get to, because we've got drunk NFL offseason has officially started, and CJ Stroud, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of CJ Stroud with every passing day.
Yeah.
And he may have won my fandom over with his most recent comments.
It's a good one.
But where we got to start this bad boy off is which franchise can you just not trust when it comes to the playoffs? Because we may have seen it last night. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
It's back, and it's sure to sell out.
Double dip of the NBA playoffs last night as we saw the Boston Celtics eliminate the Miami Heat. That game was over very quickly. We will discuss a little bit further of what's on tap for Boston moving forward because there's big questions. But I think the one that was a bit of a stunner, a 2-2 series between the Mavericks and Clippers, and Dallas just blew the doors off of the Los Angeles Clippers last night.
They did. And, well, it was pretty close up until 4.5 minutes or so in the second quarter. And then that's when, well, look, that's, hey,
Yeah.
it was a
You made it
one-point
through
game
a
at that
quarter
point.
and 2/3
Yeah, exactly.
and then rolled it in.
And then, yeah, I think Dallas finished the first half on a 13-4 run and then got things up to 25 before the Clippers hit like 3 shots at the end of the third quarter.
I am shocked at how badly some of these teams are shooting in the NBA playoffs. Last night was a perfect example.
Well, it kind of it's very weird because we get this feeling of almost like NCAA tournament when you get to a new venue and you see that shooting variance on the first day that they're in there, and
Yeah.
you're like, "What the hell happened to this team? I thought they could shoot it. Nope, can't do it." Home teams are cooking. They're shooting really well. And that's kind of the most surprising thing about what the Clippers did last night is the Los Angeles Clippers became the first team in NBA history, regular or postseason, this according to OptaStats, to have 3 9-time All-Stars or better play in a single game, and they all make less than a third of their field goals. Paul George was 4 of 13. James Harden was 2 of 12. Russell Westbrook was 2 of 11.
That's probably the most Clipper stat you could ever find.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the Clippers also, they had like that run when they had like Blake Griffin and Chris Paul on the team where you're like, how could they possibly be playing this poorly right now?
Right.
And they just entered a new wave of guys, different names, same result because of the Clippers.
Well, and we were talking about this before the show, is that with their big four, Kawhi and Paul George and Harden and Westbrook, you don't feel like you have a true leader among them.
Mm-mm.
They all just kind of seem aloof and that they're not necessarily it's like they're not terribly interested in basketball. They're just good at it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that when you hear James Harden and you see him, whether it's pouting on the sidelines during games or getting fat to get traded, like we get that feeling. Inherently, you have to have a drive and a passion to play the game of basketball, to be as good as they are and to reach the levels that they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, when you watch a game, you're like, something is just missing here. And even like Russell Westbrook, it almost seems as if he has taken a step back from that aggression and kind of what seems to look like passion during games.
Right.
That would lead you to that.
Yeah.
What they have is a leadership void.
Yes.
And leadership is of the utmost importance, especially when you get into the playoffs. And it just seems like they don't have that alpha who wants to take over and be that voice. You can see it even in Boston, where that was kind of the conversation with the Boston Celtics with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum when they have the Jays, where you're sitting there and you're going, all right, well, yeah, who's the leader of the team? Because it's not Al Horford. It kind of seems like the biggest name to kind of change that now has been Drew Holiday. And Drew Holiday kind of being that calming force when things are going wrong, but also the guy who can pull you out of funks that are when things go sideways, and when things go good, keep tides rising for them.
Well, and that's who on the Clippers is going to be able to pull the Drew Holiday role. It's not going to be Zubats. I mean, are you looking at PJ Tucker? I mean, he came in for the first time in the series last night.
No, and that's always been it. And I think if you look at the common thread, right, Kawhi Leonard has been on teams that have reached the mountaintop, but he was not that voice.
Right.
Whether it is in San Antonio or in Toronto, he was not that voice. Paul George is not that over-the-top leader. Guys will follow me. He's a incredibly skilled player. James Harden has never been that, will never be that.
No.
That's just not who he is. And there's certain people where, and you look at it and you say, if you pair these guys up, they are so talented that if that voice is there, then maybe you do get over the hump. But if you look at James Harden, whether it was in Houston, the failed experiment in Brooklyn, where you also had a very similar situation that they have in LA right now.
Yeah.
When you had KD and Kyrie alongside,
Right.
none of those guys are going to be the vocal leaders that were going to pull everybody in the same direction. Harden has been like the poster boy of this throughout his entire career, with the exception of probably the best teams that he was on in Oklahoma City at the very beginning of his career.
Yeah. And Philly went super great too, didn't it?
Philly was awful.
But yeah, and so it's part of this. Their problem is the roster makeup, and they just went about it. It's almost like they went Trader Bob and just tried to find a bunch of awesome pieces to put together and be like, oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, talent is there in spades,
Yes.
and they are a good enough team to win a championship. And we talk about this all the time, but the reverence that players speak of Paul George being like their the young guys in the league are like, my favorite player is Paul George.
Yeah.
Because from a basketball perspective, what he can do on the floor, very few people can accomplish.
But is he a leader?
That's it.
Yeah.
See,
and he's
and
not.
That's kind of, I feel like, the problem. We saw this with Phoenix. We're looking at the three guys that are leading the team, making $50+ million. Not one of them is a leader on or off the court. They're
Right.
just a scorer. So, I mean, I'm all about guys getting their bag, but it does kind of make me wonder, are teams getting what they actually want out of that $50 million salary? I think it's too much. I don't think guys are worth that. But if they're getting that, they've got to be getting leadership, scoring, and just all the intangibles. I feel like that's what a $50 million, like, top of the league salary should entail you as a player. That's what you're getting as a team, but that is not what these guys are paying for, and it just makes me wonder, is this going to be happening much longer?
It will, because
God.
you're worth whatever a team's going to pay you, right?
But,
and with the salary cap structured the way that it is, and these guys all hit their benchmarks, right? Being all NBA, being an all-star, that qualify you for Supermax deals. All these guys hit it because of the talent. And when you hit those benchmarks, you're going to get that money. But I think what you're saying, Schulte, is when are teams going to wisen up and say, I don't, this guy is not worth that freight, because does he get us to a championship? If you have the alpha leader, yes.
Yeah.
100% you can be. You pay those guys because those are the guys that get you rings.
Yeah. And there aren't a ton of those right now.
No, Dame, Giannis. I mean, if two are on the same team.
I think Joel Embiid is one of those guys too.
Agreed.
But at what point do we just go, we just don't trust the Clippers? There's some teams that it's like, it doesn't matter who's on that roster.
Yeah.
It isn't going to be
They're going to screw it up.
the team that gets over the hump.
Yeah.
And you could just, it doesn't have to be the leadership vacuum that you have here, where they have none.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be, they had leadership. They had great players, but Chris Paul would get hurt. Blake Griffin would get hurt. DeAndre Jordan would get hurt. Like, it's always something with the Clippers where you're just like, there's some franchises that just, when it comes playoff time, they don't have that it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, sometimes, like with the Clippers in the past during the Griffin and the CP3 area, it's like they were snake bitten. But now it's just like they just can't put it together.
And that is always, it's always fascinating to me, because you have there's a certain number of franchises. It's a very small percentage of teams where you go, I just don't trust them in the playoffs. The Clippers are one of them. They may be number one because we have bad franchises. Bad franchises are a joke, and we laugh at them all the time, right? Where you're like, they're not even going to make the playoffs. And they're just a joke.
Yeah.
Pirates, A's,
Rockies.
I mean, the Hornets right now, right? You sit there and you look at these teams, you're just like, you're not even close. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's another level to be like what the Clippers are, which is really damn good. But once they get to the playoffs, you're like, you have no shot in hell.
Yeah, which is why I'm always baffled so many preseasons and leading into the seasons, how many talking heads and pundits you have that are, putting the Clippers in their top 3-4 favorites to win a title. I'm like, what? Why? Why do they deserve this recognition? Why do they deserve those kinds of expectations?
Because if they can put it together, right?
Wish in one hand and do what in the other?
We get that. I mean, and look, when we're talking about this, though, teams that can be very good, can be a top 4 seed, can be, hell, a 3 seed. But they're just not going to win the playoffs. That was the Portland Trailblazers.
And for quite some time.
For a very long time.
Yes.
And they kind of fit that mold, too, where you're just sitting there. But here's the difference with the Clippers, that Nobody's talking about the Blazers winning a championship.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, the Clippers have been in this. They could win a championship, and when they're very good, I mean, they are really damn good. When they are bad, they are dreadful. To me, they're kind of like, and we don't talk about them enough because there's always so much turnover in the NFL. It's kind of like the Houston Texans. When the Houston Texans, and maybe they may be changing their lot in life because they got C.J. Stroud and they got Will Anderson, and they seem to be trending in the right direction with D'Amico Ryans. But really, since their existence, they've either been god-awful
Yeah.
or they have been really good, but you just go, they're not going to win. They're not going to win a playoff game,
Right.
let alone 2.
Yeah.
And they've never been to a conference championship game, but they've only been around since 2001,
Exactly.
right?
And a lot of that in that regard, too, is you got to, whether it's basketball or baseball or football, when you're a young team like that, you got to start out taking your lumps first.
What? Okay. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. What are the team franchises? You can go across sports. And this isn't just like bad franchise, poor ownership, poor direction, void of talent. These are good teams. They always talk about being a contender, but can never get over that hump. Because I have one that may be in competition with the Clippers. We'll get to that after Schulte with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, 2 more elimination games on the slate in the first round of the NBA playoffs tonight. First, you got the Pacers trying to knock the Bucks out at home. Giannis still listed as doubtful. Damian Lillard, though, being upgraded to questionable this afternoon. Tyrese Halliburton still dealing with back spasms for Indiana. He is listed as probable. The Pacers 7.5-point favorites tip off at 3:30 p.m. on TNT. Then you got the Philadelphia 76ers trying to survive against the Knicks at home, down 3-2 in that series. Philly, a 2.5-point favorite, tip-off set for around 6 p.m. whenever the first game finishes up on TNT. And in baseball, the Mariners off today before beginning a 3-game set in Houston tomorrow. They are still in first place in the AL West, 1 game ahead of the Texas Rangers. The Rangers also off today. Got a bunch of other getaway action, though, in baseball. The Marlins able to win in 10 innings, walking it off 5-4. The Orioles lead the Yankees top of the 8th, 7-2. Cubs and Mets tied at 5 apiece in the top of the 8th, and bottom 7, the Giants beating the Red Sox right now 3-1. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Hot Corner, now in its new time. Tuesdays at 7 after Isaac and Sue on Portland's Sports Leader, 1080.
The Los Angeles Clippers cannot be trusted in the playoffs.
No,
We know this.
not one iota.
Are they the worst offender of teams that cannot be trusted when it comes to postseason play?
Off the top of my head, I'd have a hard time coming up with better candidates.
Well, the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat your wreck before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online, vancouverford.com. They got a few, and they're actually pretty good. The YouTube chat as well, youtube.com/1080am, the fan. We've got some good ones on there. The Buffalo Bills comes through.
Yes.
That is, I mean,
It's one of the ultimate
I
ones.
had them on my list.
I mean, the Buffalo Bills they are a team where at least they've gotten to an AFC championship game. At least they went to 4 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been able to win.
Nope.
But they've won playoff games, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. You just can't trust them when
Yes.
it comes that time.
Getting almost to the summit.
How about the Dallas Cowboys turn of the century?
Yeah.
Can we go turn of the century Cowboys?
I think, yeah, probably since about, when was their last title? Like 95?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
they
say-
won
I'd
on
say-
the Quincy Carter train for a while.
Yeah.
That one is coming through a lot.
As it should.
And they should, because they also get the hype of like, this could be the year.
America's
No.
team.
No.
5-11.
Wrong.
Yes.
All wrong.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that train to start pulling out of town.
And just even a microcosm on the Cowboys is people do the same thing with Dak Prescott, I feel like.
Yes, they do. Well,
Unnecessarily pump him up.
oh boy, you're not wrong.
Or
there.
unwarrantedly pump him up.
You are not wrong. This texture has Cowboys, Yankees. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been over a decade since they won their title, so people are like, "Oh, all the Yankees gonna win."
That's a
But
long time for them.
for them, it is Texas Longhorns
Mm.
and A&M. They have both Longhorns and A&M. A&M is better than the Longhorns because the Longhorns are closer than Texas A&M is ever going to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's always like every year we have this, watch out for A&M. They're talented. It's like,
Yeah. And they come out and they win 8 games.
they go 8-4. Don't even make the playoff. That's a good one. Then they have Tottenham Hotspurs.
I'll have to take your word for it on that one.
Me
Gotta-
too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to call Patrick Harris. I need
You know-
soccer help here.
That was the original team that Ted Lasso coached
Yeah.
in the commercials.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Remember, because Ted Lasso was inspired from a NBC sports commercial.
Yeah. Was it during Olympics?
No, it was for when they got the Premier League
Okay. Gotcha.
rights. And that's where they have the drop. I pulled the drop from it where the come on, Rop.
Yeah.
that's-
Come on, Rock.
Yeah, that's Ted Lasso yelling, come on, Rop. But I
Yeah.
think he's saying Rob.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, come on, Rop.
It's close enough.
So we have that. And this one is like Yankee since the boss is gone, since Steinbrenner.
Hmm.
That is a decent one.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a decent one. The Oregon Ducks coming in on the Vancouver Ford text line, and
It
They-
hurts, but not wrong.
they're not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong because in the playoffs, they've won a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get over the hump for a championship. It's been so close, whether you want to go back to 2001, where probably should have been in the national championship game,
Yeah.
Yeah, Nebraska got eaten alive.
but they have been unable to get over the hump. I think with Oregon, though, for about 8 years, there was like a run where it was like nobody was saying, watch out for them for a title.
Right.
They've had to earn it back, but now they are to the point where they do need to win a title, right?
Yes,
I
yeah.
mean, that is, or they're going to be lumped into this conversation. But at least unlike A&M, they played in meaningful football games, have
Yeah.
won meaningful football games.
Yeah.
But they're inching towards that where people are just going to be like, can't trust them, on the biggest of stages, the most grand of stages. I have one that it's kind of off the radar, but when you hear about the level of players that they've had, the amount of money that they spend, the San Diego Padres,
Oh, that's a good one.
Interesting.
they have been to one World Series
Ever.
ever. They had arguably the best hitter to ever play the game.
Yeah.
I will say some people will try to argue that Ted Williams Still in my book,
Yeah.
the best hitter
Well,
to ever play the game.
he's definitely in the argument.
But you had Tony Gwynn. They've had Dave Winfield, Trevor Hoffman, Jake Peavy, Manny Machado recently, Adrian Gonzalez. You had Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis on one roster. They've paid a bajillion dollars to put this team together. I mean, they've had some phenomenal players come through. They have paid a truckload of money to them. Yet they have gone to the NLCS twice, I believe. 3 times. They've gone to the World Series twice, have gone to the NLCS 3 times, and other than that, they've lost the divisional round 4 other times in their franchise history. That organization, with the amount of talent that they've had and the amount of money that they pay, they cannot be trusted.
No, that's a.
But we never think of the Padres in this.
Yeah,
because they're not like an absolute disaster franchise.
right.
But when they get to the postseason, you're like, they should probably be better than what they are.
Yeah. Well, and it's very rare that they're like the juggernaut either. You
It's
know what
true.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, still sorry to go squirrel moment here. Still one of the strangest or most amazing stats to me was Tony Gwynn and his strikeouts,
Yes.
averaging 29 a season
It just never did.
over a 162 game season. 434 in his career.
What is it? What's the stat on him? Didn't he hit over 300 with 2 strikes in the count? Isn't that the Tony Gwynn stat?
That sounds about right.
That
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah. That's bananas.
Couldn't get him out. You know, this Padres talk, too, it's making me think of the Mets. How many times have they been to the World Series in the last 30 years?
Yeah.
And they have spent a bungload of money, not once,
Uh,
but
yeah.
not twice, but I think 3 times
I
through
had the
this.
Mets on my list.
Mets are a good one.
Yeah.
The Mets are, and then the Subway Series just rips your heart out.
Yeah.
And you lose to the Yankees.
I hate to
And
put
that's the one.
I hate to do this one to you, though, Schulte, because when they're bad, they're bad. But when they're good, they've been good, but just don't ever do anything. It's the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
I mean, are they...
Where they escape is that nobody heads into a season saying, there's World Series contenders
Yeah.
right there.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing. The expectations for my team, until recently, hasn't been that high.
Yeah.
So.
I do have, positive news on the Mariners.
Although, really quickly, I will admit they were the first team ever, I believe, to lose 100 games with a $100+ million payroll.
Hey, there we go.
So they did try with Bill Bavasi back in the day, trading for Eric Bedard, giving away Adam Jones. Like, they sucked.
hey,
This one coming in.
hold on, Mariner fans, really quick. Sitting atop the AL West,
Yeah.
winning 54% of their games.
Jerry DePoto's number.
Huh?
Now, not to kick you in the nuts here.
They're winning. They're first in the division.
They are-
54% of the games they've won.
They are first in the division. If they played in the East, they would be fourth.
Don't-
If they played in the Central, they would be
Hey.
fifth.
Dude,
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
That's a minor detail. Okay.
Fangraphs still has them the favorites to win the AL West, although Julio Rodriguez is on pace to hit 7 home runs this year, is what my dad texted me.
And they have the
Yikes.
ninth best run differential in the American League.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Hey, it's not how you start; it's how you finish, Rust.
Thanks, Rusty.
Pitching staff has been on
Pitching
a heater
staff
recently.
has been great. The pitching staff has been great.
for
Moving
like
on.
3 years.
They are allergic to runs.
Yes.
They are atop the AL West. They are in runs scored in the AL West. They are fourth.
Do you think by the end of the season they could have 54% of their offensive players be above the Mendoza line?
You guys did see the positive news about the Mariners earlier this week, though.
What's that?
They had a couple of Microsoft people joining the ownership group.
I did see that.
This is only the 3rd addition to their ownership group. I believe it's Brad Smith and his wife are joining the Mariners first time in a few years and the 3rd time only since '92
Yeah.
that they've had owners. And Microsoft got money, a lot more than John Stanton. I'm hoping and praying for a midseason acquisition here.
I have these notes, but I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today. It's pretty cool, pretty damn cool.
That's that
You
would
might
be
be
me.
asking yourself, Matt, how can I get myself back on the right track?
Bring on Steve Ballmer. Let's get Ballmer into that ownership group too. Microsoft, baby.
I think that would
That's
be all of us
fantastic.
if we ever bought a team, right? Any 3 of us.
Oh, I would
Yeah.
be so geeked out.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that kind of sucks for the Clippers is that you have an owner that he gives an S about
he
what you're
wants it
doing.
so bad.
He is going to flush a ton of money down all of those toilets in the new Intuit Dome that he is so proud that he's putting in. That
A toilet for everybody.
it is. You have the owner, but you don't have fans
Yeah.
in LA.
Yeah. Of your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you're up against it, but you have an owner that cares.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
I'll be interested to see how well they do filling that stadium.
It's a dome, okay? It's the
Excuse
Intuit
me.
Dome. We're bringing Dome back.
We're bringing Dome back. That's right.
That's right. It is the Intuit Dome.
Yeah.
That won't be great.
Yeah.
That won't be great.
But everybody can pee at the same time.
Yeah, they got a toilet for everybody. It's a big selling point. Big selling point there. All right, 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Ford text line. You can also be in the YouTube chats too. Lasnik has a good one. Lazink.
Lazink?
Lazing.
Lazink?
Toronto Maple Leafs. That one, they are Canada's Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, they have not won a cup in it was half a century? Over half a century?
Eesh.
Yeah. And they care, and they're supposed to be good, and they just can't get it done.
Well, they're not the only Canadian team that can't get it done.
Poor Leafs. Which other one?
Well, what? The Canadian team hasn't won the cup since
Oh.
how long?
Yeah. Oh, you're just talking all the Canadian hockey teams. I
Yeah.
was thinking like the Blue Jays. I'm like 92.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking, hockey.
Oh, hockey.
The hockey,
Yeah, they
eh?
suck at their own sport up there, eh?
Yeah, I mean, America just takes Canadians and wins cups with them. That's what they do.
That's what coming on the text line. There has to be a bunch of kids in third world countries who think the Bills dominated for 4 straight years.
You're damn right they do. They're like, damn.
They must have been really good.
Tell me about Jim Kelly. It's like, you ready to be sad, bud? Scott Norwood. You ever heard of him?
Why is it Scott Norwood gets all of it? Wasn't Steve Christie there too?
Yeah,
Didn't
but
he miss a kick or two?
Norwood had the back-to-backers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was a crushing documentary. The 30 for 30 they did. That was brutal.
Eesh.
Well, that ended on a sour note as
Right.
we're talking about the franchises you can't trust.
Well, where did we think that was going to go?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Hey, coming up next, it's coming back, and I have one request only next on The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch, and now
When we looked it up, Tony Gwynn hit 302 for his career with 2 strikes.
That's amazing. Amazing. That's so ridiculous. And his career batting average was 338
Yeah.
for his career.
Yeah. Buddy Reed texted me. He said, Gwynn's the best hitter ever. 8 batting titles. End of discussion. I will continue this discussion with Ted Williams went and fought in World War II and then came back and hit 356 and then 406 after hit. That's
Man,
crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
2 years off and then to come back and
3.
still be at the peak.
He missed
3,
the-
excuse me.
He missed the. Oh, excuse me. He hit 406, 356, then 3 years in World War II, and then hit 342, 343, 369.
Man.
And then hit 400 and 407
Yeah.
in
And,
1952-53.
and 344 for his career.
That dude, are you kidding me?
Man.
His on-base percentage is 482, which is an all-time record.
See, now you got to start debating what pitcher eras they were both playing in, and you know how the the actual talent they were facing was, and what the movement of the balls were. So.
Ted Williams' baseball reference page, they have like where you were born, where you died, your high school, your debut, all of this stuff, how old you are to the day. Like he was 20 years and 233 days when he debuted in Major League Baseball. And then they have all of your, induction into Hall of Fame stuff, all your nicknames. Buried, they have where dead players are buried. His is listed as frozen. And that still is one of the more wild stories in sports that
Yes,
we
it
do
is.
not talk about enough anymore, is that his kids froze his head because I don't know if they were watching Futurama or if they wanted to clone Ted Williams to come back. They wanted Teddy Ballgame back in baseball again.
Well, and why do you,
Actually, they may be onto something.
Like, hey, Tommy, ball game. I don't know.
You're mentioning we're talking about pitchers here in eras. If we could just clone Ted Williams, bring him back, we could end that conversation of would the greatest hitters of all time still be great hitters in another era?
there we go.
I mean, there's a lot of like butterfly effect, and there's a lot of
Well,
science stuff that I don't know. I mean, ethically, don't think it's right. But it ends sports debates in bars across the country.
Well, and if we're
I
gonna
mean, we could get one step closer to world peace here.
If we're going to do it with Teddy Ballgame, why not do it with Tony Gwynn too, and we bring him back in their head-to-head?
That's right.
Settle it once and for all.
there we go. Well, did Tony Gwynn's family freeze his head?
There's gotta be
I
some-
don't think
Well,
so.
there's got to be some DNA somewhere.
We can do it. We can make this happen.
I watch CSI. People hang on to that crap forever.
Is
All
it
right,
still frozen?
I believe so.
Oh my god. Okay, that's weird.
I believe so. All right. Kirk Herbstreit is making the rounds because EA Sports College Football is coming back. NCAA Football 25 will be back this summer. And they're doing it, folks. This is the one thing I have always wanted from these games. Because when you tee it up between Oregon State and Colorado State in the preseason football game in dynasty mode, we all know Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler would not be calling that game.
No.
In NCAA 25, the announcers that you get for your game will depend on the magnitude of the game being played.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I'm asking for one thing, EA Sports, and one thing only. You bring Rod Gilmore out of retirement and you put him with Dave Fleming and you have them take a steaming dump on your team for the entirety of your ball game if you have a Pac-12 After Dark game. Because it's one thing that every Pac-12 fan base, with the exception of Stanford, can agree with, is that Dave Fleming and Rod Gilmore would take a steaming pile of dookie on your team, no matter which team it was,
Yeah.
because it wasn't the Stanford Cardinal. We need this back.
Absolutely.
If you're going to give me Pac-12 After Dark, I want Rod Gilmore. I want Dave Fleming on the calls of these 7:30, 7:45 kicks for NCAA 25. It's not. I don't think it's out of the. It's not out of the question here. I don't think it's not a too big of an ask for me. Give me Rod Gilmore and Dave Fleming trashing teams for 60 minutes of NCAA 25.
Yeah, if you're going to be ranking your announcer teams for what games they should do, then you go all the way. Do it right.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
Exactly, which is what they don't want.
Yes. And you know what? It's a punishment. You better get that dynasty mode. You better get that team playing well.
Right?
You know, you're not going to be getting the A-team broadcast if you're 3-6. No, nobody wants to watch that. You're going to have a late kick, and you're going to have Gilmore and Fleming.
You're going to come in and get some, be like, come on, next week, please give me Joe Tessitore.
And you are going to be so angry by the end of that game because not only is your team not very good, but they just got drugged through the mud for the entirety of the game. And we all deserve it. We all deserve it in that regard.
Oh, man.
So that's the latest news of NCAA 25. All right, 503-864-6326. That's the Vancouver Forward text line. You can engage on the YouTube chats and the twitch.tv chats as well. Coming up, hour number 2, we have fun with audio that it's an adventure. It's a journey when we get to the worst day on the web at 1:30.
Yeah.
But where we got to start, hour 2, can the Celtics back up what Jaylen Brown put down last night? Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
If you love your meals with a taste of
Nation. Jeff Rust over here, party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours, whether it's on 1080 AM, The Fan, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, or youtube.com/1080 AM, The Fan, where the party animals are, and twitch.tv /1080 AM, The Fan. We had the Boston Celtics knock off the Miami Heat last night, 118-84. That was a rollover game if I've ever seen it.
Boy, that was over quickly.
1-2-3 Cancun, midway through the first quarter.
Man.
Tyler Hero goes down, clanks a three, and then the gas just got poured on the Miami Heat, and they went.
And from there on out, the Heat just looked like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Rain dance.
Danny is actually gone today because he's got a hangover from the celebrating that he did.
Yes, exactly.
With the way the Miami Heat went out.
He needs another hip surgery.
I mean, yeah. He went hard in the paint celebrating the death of the Miami Heat. But there was something that happened after the game, because one thing that the Boston Celtics did not have was Kristaps Porzingis. And from what we are hearing and what we are all gathering, it's highly unlikely he's going to be out for the conference semifinals in its entirety with that calf strain.
Yeah. It's the soleus, right?
Yeah.
Is that the same thing as Giannis?
Yes,
Yeah.
which attaches right down there at your Achilles. It's not something you want a 7-footer to be dealing with.
Right.
But after the game, Jaylen Brown was asked about Porzingis, and this one it caught my attention.
You could tell, like, just knowing him now, like, you know, he's smiling, but you could tell, like, it hurts him that he's not being with his team. But, you know, I just told him, that we're gonna hold it down. Just get your recovery in, get back healthy, and we're not going to miss a beat when you come back. So we'll be ready.
We're going to hold it down. We'll be back when you're ready. Or we'll be there when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
They still got the conference semifinals, and without Kristaps Porzingis, you're staring down at what is a very competitive series between the Cavaliers and the Magic right now, where home team just wins, and they're going to be in Orlando tonight. But the matchups that you look at, you're talking about a team that got bounced early from the playoffs over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
And they will not, without Porzingis, now you do not have Porzingis. Is that something that the realities of Boston advancing in a 7-game series against either Cleveland or Orlando?
I think at least the bright side here is that you're getting either Cleveland or Orlando and not like the 76ers. Because the Eastern Conference had come out and say today, too, that both of those series, the next round will start Monday. No matter what happens in either of the Game 6s tonight, both games will start, both series will start on Monday.
It's a big rest advantage for Boston, especially because, look, there's Game 6 tonight with a 3-2 series lead for the Cleveland Cavaliers. If that thing goes Game 7, you're looking on Saturday.
Yeah.
They've only got one day, turn around Cleveland to Boston, and then they're going to be jumping it on Monday.
At least, fortunately, Cleveland's a fairly young team, or staying with Orlando, no matter who comes out of there.
And that's the thing that you look at with the matchups wise. Like, it might be, like, if Orlando comes out of it, it's actually their lack of shooting hurts them no matter who they play. But the sheer size that Orlando has, it poses a problem because they go 6'10" across the board, and then they have Jalen Suggs running the point guard, right?
Yeah.
The size not an issue for that Orlando team, and Porzingis is not like your traditional 7'2" center who's going to be banging down on the block. But when you have 6'10" in your starting lineup, and then off the bench 6'10",
right?
That's where a team like Orlando, they want to wear you down. And if you look at the Cavaliers, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, like they have got size up front too that it's going to pose a bigger issue. Like Cleveland is going to be a tougher matchup, I think, because of the scoring abilities of Donovan Mitchell. But at the same time, that's why you brought in Jrue Holiday, right?
Yeah.
The matchups are going to be what kind of dictates that ease of Boston just being able to say, you know what, we're going to wait for you, Porzingis, because I have my concerns with Boston because of recent playoff history.
Yeah, well, I think one of the other things that might be a little bit of a feather in Boston's cap is the fact that both Cleveland and Orlando are they're both so young, and they're just kind of basically starting on that upswing again. So they don't have all that playoff experience that Boston does.
Yes, 100% in that. Boston, the way that they handled the Miami Heat, it was like they put a lot of things to bed and a lot of those worries and questions and concerns to bed. Even without Kristaps Porzingis, when Miami rolled over the last 2 games. The only game that they have lost is an insane shooting night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what sunk them, was a franchise record 23 made three-pointers by the Miami Heat. Tyler Hero went absolutely berserkers in that game. And that's what sunk them in their one playoff loss in that gentleman's sweep. Cleveland, overall, a better basketball team, obviously, than the Miami Heat are right now, especially without Jimmy Butler. But the ease with which you take care of that business, it's impressive in the NBA when you see the same team in 5 games over a 5-game series, because it was a gentleman's sweep there.
Yeah. Well, and not seeing, like you said, seeing the same team in 5 games, and some guys are going to have your off nights, but guys played well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, they did. This Boston Celtics team, with the regular season that they had, the variety of ways that they have beat you, and like we were sitting here through that first round, Jason Tatum didn't have to put the team on his back and drag them or carry them. Their depth has been what has elevated them all season long, and Stars win in the playoffs.
Yes.
No doubt about it. But the conference semifinals, they're going to be able to get through that without Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
If they play stylistically like they have all season long, and really when he went down in the series and when him not being on the floor in that series against Miami, they have eased a lot of those concerns just by having, and you look at what has really changed from last year to this year. I mean, Porzingis is a big role in kind of pulling guys out of the lane and allowing more room for guys like Tatum and Brown to operate. But on top of that, Drew Holiday being an elite perimeter defender and being a distributor who at times he's just that steadying force where sets the offense, gets out of the way. And then even though he doesn't play a whole hell of a lot, when guys like Peyton Pritchard come in and they're able to give you serviceable minutes to help save legs, this Boston team, man, they are so damn fun to watch right now because they make it look effortless.
Yeah, well, and like you said, I think they can make it through this next round without Porzingis, but what you also said was Stars winning the playoffs, right? I'm just not sure, as much love as Tatum and Brown get, I'm not sure that their stars shine bright enough to have it be what takes them further. No,
and they're complete. They play team basketball.
Yes.
And it got them to the best record in the NBA,
Yeah.
got them to 64 wins, and that team is missing a massive link in that chain without Kristaps Porzingis.
They didn't try to go the Clippers route and get 4 stars and a bunch of dudes.
Yeah. I will be interested to see what Kristaps Porzingis comes back when he does.
Yeah.
Which iteration, which version of that guy.
How much they'll utilize him, how much he has to ease himself back into it.
No doubt about it. All right, 503-864-6326. Quite the fall from grace. Next on The Fan.
Hello, sports fans.
Yeah.
We were going to set up the clones of Ted Williams and Tony Gwynn coming back.
Yeah.
And the Vancouver Ford text line gave us quite the conundrum here.
Yeah.
If the way you said just
Yeah.
threw me, yeah. Would Ted Williams' clone continue Ted Williams' original stats, or do we have new stats when Ted Williams' clone comes up?
It's not, this is Ted 2. You don't name, like, if you have a dog that's cloned, that Barbara Streisand, did she clone like 3 of her dogs or a dog into 3 new dogs or something? The DNA is all there. That they all have like different names. It's just like 2.0. It's not the same person.
Ted 2.0, huh?
Or I'd call him like Tommy Williams.
You call him Tommy?
Yeah. Hey, it's Tommy ball game.
No, I think I'm more leaning towards original Ted Williams, but
Yeah.
could you imagine what if like they clone Ted Williams and it's like he just is same old Ted Williams as back in like the 40s and 50s and people are like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
The God.
Like
Probably a few inappropriate words
Yeah.
coming out there.
I feel like
Dad, you can't say that anymore.
it's like, oh well,
It's a different age.
but it sure would be something to see people just going, all right, we got clone Ted Williams up to bat. And I mean, do the Red Sox do they have his rights still? Do they unretire the Splendid Splinters number and put it back on him?
But I mean, if it's his own jersey, right? They're just saying nobody else can wear it.
He's like asking,
It's
where's my
him.
Sears contract? It's like, bro, that company died.
What if he was just terrible now too? Like it was just like he was a product like that nature versus nurture. People are like, nope. It was just Ted Williams was a kid and was very bored and hit off a tee all the time. And he was really damn good because he had nothing else to do. Like new Ted Williams is just like, I'm a gamer. Sorry. He's doing TikTok dances.
I am really good at Mario Kart.
Got the hand-eye coordination. Just throws it all out. Like we're like, well, we wasted that clone. It's like multiplicity where the clones start making clones and you're just going, all right, this is not good for us
And
here.
you get to number 3 and that one, yeah.
His mind's blown. He plays MLB The Show as himself.
Again, we need to stop the promos of MLB The Show where it says you can play as legends such as Richie Sexton. We need to stop.
Yeah, that's...
You can unlock over like 700 legends of the game, including Richie Sexton.
He is not a legend.
Is Richie Sexton a top 700 player of all time?
Home run hitter, yes.
No. Yes and no. Yes to Schultze, no to Brust. Both things can be true.
Oh, man.
All right. Justin Fields was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he will be the presumptive backup to one Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's just not good for anybody.
Let's ride.
Well, Jalen Warren, who's running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers now, he went on, what is it? Cam Hayward's podcast. And boy, do they got plans for Justin Fields.
Do you think the kickoff rules will make you want to maybe kick return this year at all?
No.
The fans.
Nah.
Fans are like,
They don't
no.
trust your kickoff return?
I guess not. Dang. No, we want to win. No, don't go back there. I mean, I would. I think it's pretty cool. As soon as you touch the ball, that's when everything, starts to happen. But our offense or our special teams coordinator was talking about Justin Fields being back there. We're like, hold on.
Whoa, you breaking news already?
We looked at him like, Justin Fields better be that back there. And, it's, I don't know. I think it's cool.
No, you don't.
He's sitting there like, I get this attention off me because everybody in the building said no.
Yeah.
When I was asked if I should do it. So I'm just going to drop the Justin Fields backup quarterback returning kicks.
Yikes. I mean, I guess that's one way to get your athletes on the field, right?
I mean, that's a fall from grace. He did run a 4.4 at his pro day. He has speed. He is elusive in the open field, and it's not completely unheard of to have somebody play. I mean, Cordell Stewart did it in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Slash.
I mean, he was a receiver, a running back, and a punter. I don't think he ever returned kicks for him,
I
though.
don't think so.
But he did that in college, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just his whole shebang.
Being the slash type guy, sure. Well, in college, like Harbaugh, I've told this story before, but Jim Harbaugh, when we played University of San Diego, we kicked off and their quarterback returned the opening kick. We were like, oh boy, we are screwed.
Yikes.
It turned out that quarterback was Josh Johnson, who started a playoff game or played in a playoff game 2 years ago for the 49ers. He had a long career in the NFL.
Yeah, he turned out to be okay.
He was pretty good.
Yeah.
But that was like the ultimate, yep, this ain't going to go well. This game is going sideways really quickly. But Harbaugh was like, best players, put them on the field.
There you go.
Fields, I mean, if you can get away with sacrificing your backup quarterback on kickoff returns, that is a hell of an idea. But it's also that fall from grace, right? Where it is like Mike Tomlin's even allowing the thought to enter the special teams coordinator's head. Yeah, put Fields back there.
Yeah.
He can return kicks for you.
That's, yeah. Yeah, put your number 2 quarterback back there because hopefully nothing happens to Caleb, right? Or I'm sorry, Russ, excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how talented people really think he is as a quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's brutal. That's a tough one where, and I still think, like, when you watched the Chicago Bears last year, I mean, hell, DJ Moore had a career season last year. Granted, he played in Carolina before going to Chicago, but DJ Moore had a career year. He was gun shy, and he took a lot of sacks. Their offensive line was atrocious. Make no mistake, one of the main priorities this past offseason for Ryan Poles has been to improve the offensive line. Everybody is talking about what they did in the draft, going and getting guys, Rome Odunze, and going and trading for Keenan Allen. Their priority was to bolster their offensive line as well, because pass blocking, they were god-awful pass blocking last season. They had the tackle is Donnell Wright, who they drafted. He was a good run blocking tackle for them last year. He actually graded out very well by Pro Football Focus. But pass blocking, it was an abomination across the board for the Chicago Bears. So upgrading your offensive line was the priority because they knew that Fields was thrown to the wolves. And I'm telling you, no quarterback is going to thrive when you have a poor offensive line.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
It makes it really tough unless you have somebody truly transcendent like Joe Burrow, who had another transcendent group of receivers and playmakers around him, though.
Yeah, which Fields didn't have.
Fields didn't. He had DJ Moore and Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
And then was running for his life back there. So I think Fields has an opportunity to still play in the NFL because his skill set is incredible. I actually want to see him in Pittsburgh. I want to see kind of what he can do.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him back there returning kicks.
Returning kicks.
And how long,
Taysom Hill.
How long of a leash do you suppose Russ has?
Boy.
I mean, Mike
Tomlin is different, but
he can squeeze juice out of a rock. I feel like.
But we also saw he has no problem revolving that door at quarterback if things aren't going well. And they're playing. The AFC North is going to be a buzzsaw again. And look at like the AFC North and the NFC North. When I look at these divisions across football, the AFC and NFC North is the best division in football this next year.
Yeah.
I mean, they top to bottom, all 4 of those teams are gonna be good. They're gonna be a tough out. Whether it's the reigning division champs in Detroit, Green Bay is gonna be really good again. The Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach, and they upgraded on the defensive side of the football where they had their shortcomings and shortfalls. But it's also year 2 with Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator. They're going to go through, and there will be lumps having either Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets a little sticky there.
But then Chicago got a heck of a lot better. But think of the weapons that they have in Minnesota. Like, all 4 of those teams, that division, they're loaded weapon-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFC North and then the AFC North, where you have Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, and a healthy Joe Burrow coming back this year. That division is stacked too. If Cincinnati can keep guys happy and stop having players demand trades like Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins, they're going to be, I mean, they have Joe Burrow, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's top 5 quarterback in the league. And so you look at it and you go, the AFC North, if things go sideways and Russ isn't performing and he is washed, dude, that hook is going to be quick.
Yeah. I mean, if they come out, they start out 0-3, 0-4, he's throwing 200 yards a game, as many interceptions as touchdowns, or more interceptions.
So Denver.
I mean,
so if he does a Denver, and look, they've got they drafted Roman Wilson. They got him another target at wide receiver. Pittsburgh had a great draft.
Looks like they are declining the 5th-year option on Najee Harris.
Oh, really?
Not surprising.
For the 2025 season.
Yeah,
They're not going to pay.
Don't pay a running back if you have to.
They'll go draft 2 more in the 6th round.
It says they're not ruling out agreeing to a deal with him after this season, but with the new offense being installed, they want to see how he fits in with the other running backs and functions in Arthur Smith's offense.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith, for all of the flack that he got for not getting playmakers balls in Atlanta, you want to talk about a guy who squeezed the most out of quarterbacks, Ryan Tannehill. Right? When he was in Tennessee, when he was the OC in Tennessee, they had, I think, twice a top 5 offense in the NFL. Now, it was on the legs of Derrick Henry,
yes,
largely. But you also look at, he made Tannehill a quarterback that could win in a division, the AFC South, not the AFC North.
Right.
But they've got Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, who we just heard from, Cordero Patterson in their backfield, George Pickens, Roman Wilson, Van Jefferson, former Ram, and then they're Pat Freiermuth at tight end. They went and they got Troy Fautanu from UW in the draft. They're going to put him alongside. You have Isaac Seumalo still on the roster there. They're going to be pretty damn good up front. Like, Pittsburgh should not be a team that is spinning their wheels in the mud of Heinz Field.
Right.
They should be competitive, and if Russell Wilson can't get it done, I think he probably does give that hook pretty quickly and hands it over to Justin Fields.
Yeah, and because they're both only under contract then through this year, right?
Russ has got another year, I think.
No, Russ, this is a million.
He signed a 1-year deal.
A 1-year deal.
1 year veterans minimum. The Broncos are paying that, and I believe Justin Fields, they did not
They
pick
didn't pick up his option for
So this is
2025.
1 year for both.
Yeah.
Tryouts. All right. Maybe we see John Reese Plumlee, who's their 4th-string quarterback.
My God, there's another Plumlee?
Yeah.
Is he related?
No, I don't think he is.
Why not?
He went to Central Florida, though.
Wrong sport.
I want him to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed and losing his hair, like the other ones.
He's got brown hair and a great head of hair.
Well, then he's definitely not one of those Plumlees.
Yeah, he's definitely not one of those Plumlees. All right. Justin Fields, kick returner for the Stars. Giddy up.
Giddy up.
If they do that, man. Oh, poor Justin
Yikes.
Fields. All right, our worst day on the web. We got a punch-drunk boxer who's going through it on Twitter, and we're all seeing it. That after Schultze with SportsCenter.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today. Online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan, 2 more elimination games on the slate for the first round of the NBA playoffs tonight. You got the Pacers trying to knock the Bucks out at home. Giannis listed as doubtful. Damian Lillard, though, upgraded to questionable this morning. Tyrese Halliburton is still dealing with back spasms. He's listed as probable. Indiana, a 7.5-point favorite. Tip-off at 3:30 p.m. on TNT. Then you got the Philadelphia 76ers trying to survive against the Knicks at home. They are down 3-2 in that series. Philly is, though they are a 2.5-point favorite. Tip-off around 6 p.m. on TNT. The Mariners off today in baseball after losing to the Braves yesterday, but they do begin a 3-game series in Houston tomorrow. Still a lot of getaway action going on in the Bigs today. One game, the nightcap tonight, the Astros and the Guardians has not gotten going, but one game still in progress. The Rangers do lead the Nationals 3-0. Also, the Giants already beating the Red Sox 3-1, and in 11 innings, the Mets beat the Cubs 7-6. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
It's back, the 10th
All right. We got a guy going through it right now. On the Twitters, no less. Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney, was it last weekend? In a fight. He's a boxer, if you are unfamiliar. And Ryan Garcia, remember, the lead up to that fight with Haney, and Haney was heavily favored in it, was that Haney was saying things like, Garcia doesn't even care about this fight. He's not even training hard. Garcia was saying things like, I like beer a lot. I like to drink beer. I drink beer every day.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, this guy's going to get worked. He also ended up weighing in 3 pounds over the agreed upon weight, which lost him $500,000 per pound.
Whoa.
Yeah, 1.5 milli.
Man.
That is a big deal. And when you think about like super lightweights, 3 pounds is a lot of weight on those little fellers.
Yes.
But I think they almost got into a fight at the Empire State Building too before the fight as like a promotional event.
Well, that happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they were also supposed to throw out the first pitch at the Mets game that same day, and the Mets were like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that."
I mean, and that's
they canceled it after they arrived at the stadium.
Well, yeah.
They can't fight each other. That would be assault. Like the only fight that can happen is a sanctioned fight, right?
Yeah, don't tell that to a boxer.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Well,
or anybody with cauliflower ear.
Right? Yeah,
Conor
exactly.
McGregor. Yeah, see him.
Garcia won the fight. It was a majority decision over Haney.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was 2 weeks ago, April 20th. And then yesterday, it was brought up by ESPN's Mike Coppinger. Garcia has tested positive for the PED Ostarine the day before and the day of his upset victory over Devin Haney.
Mm-hmm.
This was a voluntary?
I thought I saw the one that before the day of the fight, before the fight, that said was a voluntary test.
Okay. So this led to Garcia going to his Twitter account. And folks, this is where we have an adventure that we have been on with Ryan Garcia's Twitter feed. Because the day started with Jesus is coming back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, followed by Booty's lit.
I mean, yeah. Booty's lit.
Booty's lit.
I do agree on that one.
Back-to-back tweets there.
Jesus is coming back. And then we have a picture of a herbal supplement, washaganda root, where he says, "My bad, shouldn't have taken this."
Oh, the awashaganda. Yeah, that's a popular one.
What is it?
Awashaganda, I believe it's like an energy booster. Guys in their 30s and some gals, like it's in a lot of multivitamins.
Oh, okay.
So, kind of started taking multivitamins, and I've seen that in some of the ones that I've bought.
Okay.
A washaganda take otherwise.
Hey! I see what you did there. But this is about the time that it started coming out. He got popped for PEDs, which led to this video posted to his Twitter account. And I'm not going to lie, folks. Buckle up. You're going to go on a ride. There are two people. He's sitting down in a cutoff T-shirt. There are two people standing behind him, which you will hear both of them in this audio. They're like his hype men. Like I don't... Like it's the Wu-Tang Clan where they come out with like 40 people on stage. This is a video just one person would have been fine.
Yeah.
But these two people framed up in the shot, they're just standing behind him, a man and a woman. The man is wearing a flannel, a Yankees hat, and pit vipers.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And the gal is a hot who's just standing behind him. Here is Ryan Garcia's defense over his PED positive test.
What's up, everybody? I came on here to address this bull claim that I cheated.
Lies.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I don't cheat. What can I say? You know, why didn't they come out with this before, the fight? If they found it before, why would they let me step into the ring as a cheater and then come out with the victory and then they post this, Again, these are people that are trying to attack me for whatever reason, but no weapon against me shall prosper. I never taken steroid. I don't even know where to get steroids at the end of the day. I barely, take supplements. They're saying it's coming from the ashwagandha. That's so. At the end of the day, big lies. I beat his ass. Out of here. Everybody go to Warwick tonight. It's lit.
And I was with this guy every
There's a club promotion in there. We got a club promotion in there.
Club promotion.
I love the. I don't know why they even let me fight if I took that test. Like, did he think that it's like an instant test where you get a result? Like, does he think it's like a pregnancy test? Like, you send these, you take these samples and you send them to like to a lab, and they go through the lab, and then you get the results.
Yeah, USADA handles all that, right?
You would think that. I'm assuming this clearly not this guy's first fight.
It is not his first rodeo,
and so I would assume that at some point throughout his boxing career, somebody would explain to him exactly how the testing process works.
He didn't listen.
No, he didn't. And by the way, I think one thing that Odyssey should add is people just standing in the background giving their 2 cents on these fine shows.
Lies.
See? Sign me up. We need hype men.
And then can we release
a live studio audience, really bringing the point home?
Can we please respond to the I don't even know where to get steroids? You're a professional boxer.
Yeah.
That's like
you grew up in a gym.
Yeah. That's like a kid saying they don't know where to get candy.
Yeah.
Stop it.
All right. That video is not the end of Ryan Garcia's I don't know, rants that he was going on. He followed that video up with, I need more steroids. I'm addicted. Ugh. All right. All right. Now he went to, he's just going to dox everybody. I'll find out who paid to create this lie. Now I'm going to release everybody's time to expose the real snakes. Okay.
Okay.
He then followed it up with, the glove does not fit. Not quite sure that's the one you want to go with there, bud.
Never use that. Ever. Anybody. Ever.
And then we go even further.
Yeah.
I'm seen with Trump. Now I'm positive for steroids. This is a straight attack. Crazy.
So he's arguing that because he was seen with Trump, now all of a sudden,
yeah.
Like, now we got to
Hey,
now we got to frame him for a failed test.
Somebody should let him know that Tom Brady was also seen with Trump several different times. I don't think anything happened to him.
Okay. He had the Make America Great hat in his locker when Trump first started his campaign back in 2016 or 2015.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yep. And then here's my personal most confusing one here. If I took the steroids, then I'm for sure gay. Can anybody explain that one to me? That was a Ryan Garcia tweet following his positive PED test.
Okay. So there's a definitive correlation between the two, is what he's trying to say.
I think what we're gathering here is that either he's trying to say I definitely didn't do it, or I don't know, or maybe I have no idea where he's going there.
I am confused.
But there we are with Ryan Garcia, and then it went back to thanking God.
Yeah.
He's so thrown out. Did he paid for the drug test allegedly? Just roping yourself in with like the worst names you possibly can.
Right, yeah.
The glove did not fit.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. I was seen with Trump. Now I'm positive for steroids, and then dragging Diddy into it.
Yeah. Now an alleged human trafficker. Yikes,
folks! This is how you get. Oh,
it's quite the circle.
Wait, and then we have another one too.
Ooh.
I'm on the Jesus steroid.
What?
So if maybe if you're not familiar with what Ostarine is, it's the Jesus steroid, according to Ryan Garcia. Everybody.
What does it all mean, Basil?
I don't know.
I'm on the Jesus steroid.
I have no idea.
It's like secret stuff in Space Jam. Like, I don't know.
You would think that anybody, would be like, Ryan, let's put the phone down for a while. Let's maybe take a few plays off here. We'll get back in the game later.
Gotta keep our composure.
Yeah, like this text is like, is Epstein gonna vouch for him? Like what? I don't understand his defenses here.
Yeah.
Is he trying? Because what a lot of the names that he's bringing up are telling me like, probably guilty.
Yeah. What's the next one that's going to come out? You know, Hitler had some really good points.
It is the worst road you could choose. He's like, you know what? There's a fork in the road. I'm going to go Yogi Berra. There's a fork in the road. Take it. This is the bad one. Still going to take it. I'm just going to go down that fork in the road and I'm just going to walk down it as far as I can. Because this man is deep in the woods with it.
I mean, he gets hit in the head for a living. All right.
And that's the sad part.
Let's point that out.
That's the sad part.
Man.
Wow. I love that I don't even know where to get steroids. First off, like I don't even.
Yeah.
Oh well, innocent. Definitely not going to go with the blood test. And I guess he has he has a B sample, and then can refile and take another test as well. I have a feeling this isn't over for the great Ryan Garcia.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's definitely not the end of his Twitter account.
No. That'll be a good watch.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Man.
Oh man. All right. 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Y'all are on one. YouTube comments as well. All right. The Mountain West in the Pac-2. They're talking next on The Fan.
What's your opinion?
It's thick, it's meaty.
The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question gives you a chance to vote on the hottest topics of the day, according to Isaac and Sue.
They were more excited than I was.
Hey, this text on the Ryan Garcia thing, Oscar De La Hoya is his promoter, huh?
Wow.
Did you hear the Canelo Alvarez on De La Hoya yesterday? Expletive laden rant where he went at De La Hoya calling him a thief, that he effing stole money from him, that if he got any closer, he would have killed him. Like, that was at a promotion for a fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So there's a lot going in here with old Ryan Garcia that, my goodness gracious.
Boy. Good Lord. Well, didn't you say during the break there he added another name to the list?
Yeah. So we've got O.J. Simpson.
Yep.
We had he compared he said he's a takedown because he's been seen with Trump, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was another one in there. Oh, Diddy.
Yep.
He also said that he's being taken down like Andrew Tate.
What?
Yeah. Yep. He said that, just like Andrew Tate, people are making stuff up and they're coming at me.
Like, what did he do before writing all these tweets? Did he go and, like, literally Google bad press?
Maybe this is what he's doing.
List the worst people in the world.
Maybe his whole plan here is, like, if I name people bad enough, I don't look so bad anymore.
And good for that woman standing by. I'm just like, yep, this is the idiot that I picked.
Yeah.
Like, you're an idiot too.
Well, there were 50 million reasons why after that fight.
Yeah, right.
He got a lot of money.
Oh wow, he's so rich. He's so stupid, but he's rich. Oh, he's so ugly, but he's rich.
But 1.5 million less than it should have been too.
That's fair.
Oh man. I mean, the sad part is that this doesn't end well. Doesn't end well. I do not see a positive ending for this.
Yeah, this will go careening off a cliff.
Unfortunately. Yep. Take the phone away. Put Twitter down.
Yes.
And
Just uninstall that app.
Like,
delete your account.
As the great Herm Edwards, who has a 10-year show cause by the NCAA, once said,
Don't press in.
Don't press send.
Don't press send.
Don't press send. I saw this little update for B fans that are out there. Brandon Marcello of 24/7 Sports put out yesterday that the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference said that Gloria Nevarez has said that they are going to start discussions soon with Oregon State and Washington State about football scheduling for the 2025-26 seasons, which makes sense for both the Beavs and the Cougs because, look, they patched together this schedule this year.
Right.
And they did a really good job of doing it in such short order with how absurdly far schedules are made.
Right.
But moving forward, it becomes a lot more murky to navigate because we're still not sure what the landscape of college football is going to look like in a year or two.
Right. Well, and didn't we kind of know, though, that they were going to have to piece things together for these next 2 seasons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before anything can even start to become more clear.
Until the new college football playoff deal kicks in, they want to keep the power status of, even though they lost their autonomous 5 status, they want to keep the revenues that will be coming in. It's $100 million for each of them over 2-year period. But the fact that you have the Mountain West willing to play ball for another year to have that hybrid scheduling is good news for both the Beavs and the Cougs.
Yeah.
But and it's good for Oregon State and Washington State to have those contingency plans because that's what got them on the outside looking in. I think the most important thing moving forward is that you have a parachute out of it, so where you can rip the ripcord out if the Big 12 or the ACC come calling, because the Florida State Clemson lawsuits, they're moving forward. I mean, Florida State's took a step backwards. It seems like it is moving forward now to where, the state government is playing ball to try to help Florida State get out of the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
If that does happen and you have a little bit of the ACC dissolving, adding 2 more teams out west to help with Cal, Stanford, and SMU, you got to be in a position to pounce and be able to get out of any of these deals as quickly as you possibly can.
Well, and so it does leave some hope that I still feel like they'll wind up probably in the Big 12 is my guess after these next 2 seasons. But and the Mountain West, it behooves them to carry on with them for the next 2 years too, because it helps bring some better talent to the teams that they're playing.
And there is a financial implication there too when
Yeah.
you're filling out your schedules and you're having to go on road games and stuff like that to Corvallis, into Washington, into Pullman. So that's just like the briefest of updates that things are moving forward, and that's good for both Oregon State and Washington State because their number one priority has got to be finding a power conference to get into.
Yeah.
But having the contingency plans and looking forward, it feels like every message that was sent has registered. And I heard Scott Barnes on with Isaac and Suk last week where, they are getting their ducks in a row and being proactive in finding a new home. And that's going to be the most important part for them.
Did you see the other day too? I think it was the Big 12 commish? Was it Yormark? Who said basically that the ideal number for them for the college football playoff is 14.
Yeah, that was floated out there, but they wanted to go to 12 first. If the Big 10 and the SEC each get another automatic bid like they were jockeying for,
right,
14 is what everybody else is going to have to go to if there's 3 from the Big 10 and
then
the
so
SEC.
then what? Does that give you 6 first-round buys? Is that how you do that?
I'm
I mean,
really bad with how to like
'Cause,
in my brain look at brackets, but that sounds like it makes sense.
Because right now, with 12, you got 4 first-round buys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 14, it seems like a weird number.
It's a stupid number.
Like, why not? Let's just go to 16.
Yeah, I think 12 is where they got to stay. Just stay at 12. Stay at 12, and they're going to consolidate the power, and
And I think
it'll make more sense.
I think the idea of the first-round buys is a good one for the top 4 seeds.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, coming up, hour number 2, we got a guest. We got SOU's head football coach, Burke Browns. He's going to join us because something that's pretty awesome that's going on down there. They are going to be playing the national champions from Japan for their spring game. The only team in college football in the United States that'll play somebody else for their spring game. And this background story is why we're bringing Coach Brown on. It's pretty awesome. And so he'll join us at 2:15. But coming up next, I think CJ Stroud is making strides to becoming my new favorite player. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. go round. And now with everybody having a podcast and everybody being so visible, we have heroes and villains rising every day. CJ Stroud is vaulting up my hero board very quickly.
I've come around on CJ Stroud. I didn't think he was going to do much coming into the NFL.
Yeah.
And he's done okay.
He was phenomenal last year.
Yeah.
And look, he very may well have a sophomore slump this year, but that does not mean he's going to have a bad career.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take away what he did last year.
No, it doesn't. But what he did yesterday is something that I think needs to be revered, because he said what we all think and what we all know with Micah Parsons on their podcast, because they were talking about, could you score in an NBA game?
How much would each you guys score in an NBA game?
I'm averaging 20. I would say I would be lucky to hit a 3 or 2. I'm
And
realistic,
he calls himself
fam.
a shooter?
He's a
I'm not
cowboy. He's a cowboy. He's naturally delusional.
Micah Parsons thinks that he could get 20.
He said he could average 20. He just said he could average 20.
But it's the tail end where CJ Stroud wins me over.
Yes.
He's a cowboy. They're all delusional. Yes, they are. Every single one of you.
Yep. Fans included.
Fans, players, coaches, owners.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody gets more delusional than Jerry.
No.
We're going to be aggressive this offseason. They did nothing.
Yeah.
They did nothing.
I'm going to be a good GM.
But to drop he's a cowboy, he's delusional. Thank you, CJ Stroud, and you become a hero to me.
That's so good.
Because he was realistic. I could get up a 3.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's going to be really hard.
No, I couldn't tell if he said if I could get up a 3 or 2, or if he said I could get up a 3 or a 2.
Yeah, I think he's saying he could make one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's saying a 3 or 2.
Okay.
Like 1 or 2 threes.
Okay.
Is what I think he's getting at
Yeah.
there. But the main point is, Cowboys, you're all delusional.
Yeah. Average 20 points, Micah Parsons.
And your sense of entitlement is through the roof. I do appreciate Micah Parsons believing in himself that much, though. There is a level of self-confidence there that cannot be ignored.
Well, and, I guess what we always say, too, is these professional athletes, they got to have a certain amount of ego to get to where they're at.
Damn right.
I guess some just, that cup runneth over.
But there is confidence and delusion.
Yeah.
And that right there is delusion.
Absolutely.
To think you could average 20 in the NBA.
That's so ridiculous.
Now, how could that, is he just saying, I'm just going to put my shoulder down and get to the rack?
Yeah.
He's not even doing that.
Well, let's put it this way. So who's a good, thickman in the NBA?
Zion.
The
Cybertruck.
And he's 6'8", 6'9"?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's like Zion coming out and saying, not that he's going to come out and lead the league in sacks. He's like, well, I could go out there. I could probably get 12, 13 sacks in a year.
That's exactly what it, yes. I could average 10 sacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
And what would Micah Parsons' reaction to that be?
You're delusional.
Or actually, Micah Parsons would be like, yeah, you could. Because I believe in you just as much as I believe in myself right now. You could do it. No, it would not happen, because there's so many intricacies to being a scorer in the NBA.
Yes.
Just like there are to bending your shoulder, getting around a tackle in the NFL, which Micah Parsons is phenomenal at.
Yes.
But that does not mean you can score 20 in the NBA.
Just pick up a ball and go put up 20 a night.
I need to see this.
That would be fun.
I need to see this. If nobody, I know nobody on the Mavericks is going to do it, because Luka Doncic come off season.
Yeah.
Kyrie goes right off the flat edge of the earth. And then, I don't know, maybe we can get PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford and maybe say, all right, we'll see if you can score.
Well, I've got a perfect time for when we can try this sort of an exhibition. It's the Ocho Day.
The Ocho Day. He'll be in training camp because it's 8-8.
Damn. That's right. Wow.
I mean, there's no better time to do it than, early July, though.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe we do it after the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Right there on the pier, you have on the boardwalk, you set up a basketball court. You bring out Micah Parsons with 5 NBA players and say, go score.
Yeah.
At all.
Well,
and surround him with 4 other NBA players, too.
Speaking of the Nathan's hot dog eating championship, Joey Chestnut, I saw, was on a podcast a while back. And they asked him, if he could beat in a 100-meter race Usain Bolt, but they each had to eat an entire hot dog first before they could start running.
Oh. Okay. So Chestnut, he can eat a hot dog in like 2 seconds. We've seen that. This comes down to how fast can Usain Bolt eat a hot dog?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it may take
Can
him...
he go 10 seconds?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, ouch.
God, I think Joey Chestnut wins that race.
Right? Like at the beginning, at the premise of it, you're like, that's stupid. Usain Bolt's so fast.
But
then
to
it's like,
think of how long it would take him to eat a hot dog.
It's the great equalizer.
It is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
And are you allowing them? Because Joey Chestnut can do it in like 2 seconds, but they dip the bun in
dips it in
water.
water, yeah.
So like if Usain can just water it up,
I'm sure they'll have hot dog competition rules.
slipping
for that
that
one.
meat in your mouth. Can he do it quickly?
That's clean.
Yeah, I'm glad
That's
we
clean.
I'm glad we
That's
laid out for
clean.
that one.
That's clean. Schulte, that's going to live forever, and I'm
That
sorry
will
for
live
you.
forever.
I'm really sorry for you.
Timestamp. Let's see here. 2:11.
But that equalizer there with eating the hot dog, because think of Usain Bolt's a normal person in that regard. I don't know how fast he can eat something, but just to think of the average person, I'm thinking of like how fast I could eat a hot dog, and it is not 10 seconds. I don't even think it's 10
I
seconds.
could probably try to get like half of it down in one bite, but it's going to take me more than 10 seconds just to chew that half.
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll take me like the fastest is like 20 seconds to
Right?
eat a hot dog.
Yeah. And then by that time, Joey Chestnut's run 100 yards.
100
meters, excuse me.
By golly, I think he wins.
Yeah.
I think Joey Chestnut wins.
Does he
I need to see this happen.
Now, here's the next question. Does he finish the race before Bolt finishes the hot dog?
No. Because I think Joey Chestnut, it takes him, if we're going to say it takes like 2 seconds for him to eat that, hoof that dog down. This man is not fleet of foot.
No.
I'm saying he probably runs if he's probably a 14-second.
You think
100.
so? Or I was even going to say, do we double Bolt's time? Make it
Maybe.
like an 18 plus?
Yeah. Again, I've never seen Usain Bolt eat a hot dog. I've never seen Joey Chestnut run.
So figure it this way. So even if we figure it takes Joey Chestnut double the time.
Yeah.
18 plus seconds, and then you got your 2 seconds. So that puts him at about 20 seconds.
Yeah. So he's probably starting as Chestnut's
yeah.
finishing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, good one for the Ocho.
Okay, so let's see. Let's just recap what we've accomplished today. We are unfreezing the head of Ted Williams and cloning him and bringing him back, and then finding DNA of Tony Gwynn to have a hitting competition against modern pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have Joey Chestnut race Usain Bolt.
I think we came in with our thinking caps today.
We can end this show right now.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a show.
Right?
But coming up next, we got Southern Oregon's head football coach, Burke Brown. He's going to join us. They are playing the national champions out of the country of Japan as their spring game. The only college football team in the country that will be facing another team in their spring game. But the history behind it dives a lot deeper. Coach Brown joins us next. Danny and Dusty on The Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and
cool event. The Mills Bowl returns down in Ashland, and it's bringing something back that is a tradition from almost 40 years ago that is brought back to life by, in part, the head coach of the Southern Oregon University Raiders, Burke Brown. Kind enough to join us now. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm awesome, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Mills Bowl. All right. First of all, on the surface, tell us what is going on, because it's a really cool opportunity for your young men down at SOU, which the only college football team in America that's going to be playing another team for their spring game.
Yeah, it's super neat opportunity for us. So we are playing Kwansei Gakuin University out of Japan, who is a 36-time national champion in Japan, and they just won the national championship last year. And so, yeah, it's going to be a heck of an opportunity for us to get challenged by a really good football team. And like you said, man, we're the only team in the United States playing someone else this spring. So we're pretty fortunate.
Now, the history behind it is really cool, too, though. Chuck Mills, former head coach at SOU, he started this tradition back in the 80s. And, why bring it back now? And how did this all start back in the early 80s when Coach Mills was running the show at Southern?
Yeah, so at Coach Mills' previous stops at Utah State and Wake Forest is actually when he started taking his teams to Japan to play in the spring. And so, as he shifted jobs, he kept in contact with the organizations in Japan that run all the football leagues. And so, yeah, it was just a continued thing under Coach Mills to keep this relationship with the people in Japan to play, Kwansei Gakuin University. It originally started as when he was at Utah State, he brought them out there to play an all-star team from Japan. And then it just kind of morphed into, Southern Oregon University playing KGU. So, yeah, it kind of came about, I actually stepped into it. It was a relationship from the previous head coach here at SOU, Coach Charlie Hall, that he had with the people from Japan, because he was the head coach at Ashland High School. And Dusty, as you know, Ashland High School every year plays a team from Japan. So that's kind of how it got started. It was actually slated to go last year, but we weren't in the position at SOU. I had barely hired a staff to be playing anyone last spring. So we put it off a year, and here we are ready to rock and roll.
So a return trip to Japan, is this going to be an annual event, or is this going to be, they come here and maybe you guys head back in the future?
Yeah, I think we owe them a trip back to Japan. I don't think it'll be next year. So I don't know if it'll be an annual thing, but it's something we want to definitely do every couple of years. Their first day in town was last night, and we actually had a banquet with them this morning at breakfast, and it's just a really neat opportunity for both sides to get introduced to some culture that they haven't been around before, and I think it's only fitting that we head back to Japan and return the trip.
All right, now we're talking with Burke Brown, head coach, Southern Oregon University. They're going to be playing the Japanese national champion for their spring game this Saturday down in Ashland. What does it look like as you're trying to prepare not just your team for spring ball, where you focus a lot on yourself, but you're getting ready for an opponent that literally nothing about?
Yeah, it's been crazy. So, we spent the first 10 practices of the 15 that were allowed during the spring, doing as you just said, and that's focusing on ourselves. As we rolled around to this last weekend, that's finally when we're treating this week just like we would any week in the fall, getting ready for a football game. So the coaching staff got in this weekend and started breaking down the tape and watching the film, and we introduced game plans on Monday, and we've gone through the week just like we would, like I said, if we were in October sometime. What we found in our studying is that, albeit that they play all the same rules that we do in Japan, there is just a cultural difference in the game from, from how they line up in different formations and how they go about blocking certain running schemes to how they run defense. There's some definite differences that we're just not used to seeing. So it's a challenge for our coaches to kind of get in the minds of their coaching staff and see what they're trying to accomplish just based on some things that we're just not used to seeing. So it's been fun that way. And then, they play some serious football in Japan. I think people might, be misunderstood, when you talk about football in Japan. What people have to understand is that there's over 200 colleges that play football in Japan, and this is the best one of them all. And so it's going to be a hell of a challenge for us on Saturday, man. This is a really cool opportunity.
And as you've you said they got into town yesterday, as you've kind of gotten to know the coaching staff a little bit, I'm sure there's a little bit of communication between you and their coaching staff as you guys are setting this whole thing up and trading game film. What has been their level of excitement for coming over and playing an American football team, which, it doesn't matter what level it is, they get to play in the States against an American team?
Yeah, there's a ton of national pride for them for this game. And it just oozes out of them. When we were having breakfast this morning, you could tell how excited they were to come, to the States and play a team from, America, and they get to show off how good they really are against a team, who we're coming off a pretty good season ourselves. So you could tell that they're pretty juiced for this game. We actually will share a practice with them this afternoon, and, we'll do some 7-on-7 drills with them. We'll do some 1-on-1 pass rush stuff with them, kind of break the ice a little bit and maybe knock some nerves out of each team. But yeah, Coach Ka is their head coach, and I have spoken length about, what this game should look and feel like. And it's, both teams are coming in to battle and win. And so it's been an awesome experience so far.
Do you, in the back of your mind, are you watching tape and saying, can we get some of these guys over here? Like, are you using it as recruiting?
No, 100%. They don't have the transfer portal in Japan though, so I don't think we're going to have that happen. And it's a topic of conversation their head coach and I had actually. And when they get a guy, they get him for 4 or 5 years. But yeah, they've got some serious players. They've got a quarterback who is going to make our life really hard. He scrambles, he extends plays, he can throw the football down the field. They've got a running back who's a real playmaker, a linebacker / edge rusher who we're worried about. And all of these guys would excel, at the small college level here in the States. And yeah, those would be guys that we would definitely want to recruit and go after.
Now, the Mills Trophy is the equivalent of the Heisman over in Japan.
Yeah, that's correct.
Are we gonna get this? Are you gonna lay down enough roots to have the Brown Trophy over there?
Buddy, I am so worried about what we're trying to accomplish right now. There's no way I have time to even think about anything else but just getting us ready for these dudes upcoming this Saturday and then going into the fall and putting a good show on the field on Saturday afternoons, man.
I know you're busy, and I appreciate the time, buddy. Before we let you go, what is your message to your team as you're getting ready? Because this is truly unique in what you guys are doing here. And you guys do it with a lot of guys from here in our own backyard. I mean, Portland, Southwest Washington, and up and down the I-5 corridor is where a big bulk of your roster is made. What is your kind of message to those guys as you guys get ready to play a team from across an entire ocean?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think you have to put it in perspective for them. And what I've told them really all spring long is how we kind of started this conversation is, man, bank your lucky stars because you're getting an opportunity to face a different colored jersey in the spring, and no one else in the country is getting this opportunity. So you better take advantage of it. And secondly, we are going to be tested, and we're going to be tested early in this 2024 season to see what young guys can step up and fill the roles of the guys who graduated last year. So this is an opportunity not only for the cultural experience, but for our guys to get ready for the 2024 season. We've got some big shoes to fill. We know we're moving in the right direction down here at SOU. We beat the 5th ranked team in the country in the last game of the year. We finished 6-4, doubled the win total from the last 2 years. And so we know that there's a lot on the line here, and this could be a real big boost going into the summer and be a real confidence builder as we head into September 7th and welcome Lincoln University to Raider Stadium. So there's a lot on the line here. There's a lot of guys vying for playing time, vying to be the guy on Saturday afternoons in the fall. And then furthermore, it's bragging rights, right? It's cultural bragging rights here in the States, and we know we're playing for a lot more than just Southern Oregon University.
Love it. Coach, have a good one, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Dusty, I appreciate it, buddy.
There he is, Burke Brown, head coach at SOU. It's a really cool opportunity for them because you don't get to play a team like a Japanese team coming over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they were to play Oregon, it would be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
But this is at the NAIA level. It's one of those opportunities where, taking a team back over to Japan in the future, whether that's next year or the following year. I know they have plans in the works for that. That's a really cool thing that you can kind of retrace to your history and having a coach that introduced American football to Japan, and now 200 colleges play it over there.
Yeah, that's bananas, him being the pioneer of American football in Japan. And one thing that I kind of got to thinking about, the two of the words that he said was cultural differences. And he was talking in terms of how they line up on the field and whatnot. But for me, it got me thinking about in terms of, between plays and post plays and after the tackle and getting up and activity, behavior and whatnot on the field. Not to say that, we're going to be big, dumb Americans or anything, but
we are.
Yes, but we are. But wondering about the differences and how the different nationalities comport themselves on the field.
Yeah, I was talking to him about he's like, we don't even know where to start with game film, because you go on Twitter and you're trying to look up clips. You don't even know what to search for because you don't know Japanese.
Right, exactly.
So you get in the weeds to it, and Reddit college football, they'll post on Twitter highlights of the Japanese league nonstop during their season. And that's the other thing. They're starting their season now. So they've gone through training camp.
Gotcha.
And so they're at the beginning of their season to where this is spring ball, and then you take the whole summer off, and then you get back into training camp come fall. It's crazy. And Chuck Mills, who kind of started this, when I was down in Ashland, and Burke was a teammate of mine, and we didn't get to any of the stories that we have from college, and that's probably for the best.
I think we need a whole hour for that, probably, at least, or a show.
Maybe more. But
how do we not get him in here on Dusty and Friends?
We've got, when I was down there, Chuck Mills, our office secretary at the time, Rhonda, she said when Coach Mills was the head coach, he was always trying to find that edge and that advantage and kind of be creative and new. And that's where he got taking Wake Forest and Utah State over to Japan initially, and then taking Southern over to Japan. It was kind of planting the seed to see if he could tap into something new and unique. Well, Rhonda told me the stories of back when there's one secretary for the entire athletic department. Anytime he would find out a player had a son, she would have to create a scholarship offer for an infant so they could send an official scholarship offer to any former player who had a boy. They would she was it was nonstop.
That's pretty funny.
And just beating down the door. So he was one of those guys, and now he's got the equivalent of the Heisman over there is named after him, and they are the national champs are coming over. It's gonna be really fascinating. There's gonna be a lot more eyes than normal on that game because it is catching kind of national headlines that the Japanese national champ is coming over and playing a team right here in our own backyard.
I wonder if that was the impetus for hiring another secretary, was having somebody solely for all of the newborn scholarship offers.
All right. Really cool. And bringing stories like that to people because it's going to be cool. And I mean, I'm sure you knew a lot of people. Hell, I have never traveled across an ocean before.
Nope.
But that return trip and the doorways that sports can open up. He mentioned Ashland High School. Every 2 years, Ashland High School does this with the Japanese high school team. So if you are in the Ashland High program for 4 years, you will have an all expenses paid trip to Japan where you go there for a week and then you play a football game against a high school team in Japan.
That's pretty cool.
And then 2 years later, they'll come and they come to Ashland and play. There's a lot of people that otherwise won't have the opportunity to probably ever go to Japan.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. That's a long trip and not cheap.
And I'm not sure like they would have let me in or back to the States. Either one of them if I were to go when I was in college. So it probably says something about the roster that they have, that they're going to be able to take all their guys over there eventually.
Could have wound up with a fancy set of interlocking bracelets, huh?
It's pretty cool though. It's a great event, and check it out this weekend. It'll be on socials, and they're going to have the live stream of the game. So pretty neat. Pretty
cool.
neat. All right. Hey, we've got a couple of NBA games tonight. The playoffs roll on. Elimination on the line. This is where it gets fun, baby. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, 2 more elimination games on the slate in the NBA playoffs tonight. First, the Pacers trying to knock the Bucks out at home. Giannis doubtful. Damian Lillard questionable. Tyrese Halliburton still, I believe he is playing. Thank you. Dusty just checking in with me in my ear. So no longer questionable. He will be playing. Tyrese Halliburton, though, is going to be dealing with back spasms, assuming he's going to give it a go, especially since Dame is going to give it a go at this point as well. Now Indiana just a 5.5-point favorite. It was 7.5, so Dame coming back moved that spread 2 points. That one gets going in about an hour on 3:30 at 3:30 on TNT. The Sixers going to try to survive against the Knicks at home. They're down 3-2 in that series. Philly a 2.5-point favorite. Tip-off set for 6 p.m. on TNT. In baseball, the M's are off today before beginning a 3-game stretch in Houston tomorrow. They still are 1 game ahead of the Rangers for first place in the AL West. A couple of getaway games on the scoreboard already completed. The Rangers smacked the Nationals 6-0. Giants over the Red Sox 3-1, and the Mets slipped by the Cubs in 11 innings 7-6. Breaking news out of college football in just the last few minutes. Georgia head coach Kirby Smart has been signed to a new 10-year, $130 million contract. A $13 million annual salary makes him the highest-paid coach once again in all of college football. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon, 1080 The Fan.
when Milwaukee made history in winning a playoff game without their 2 leading scorers in Dame and Giannis.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They extend that game, and then Damian Lillard, according to Chris Haynes of TNT and Bleacher Report, he says Dame will play with the Achilles strain. So that literally came out as Schultze was in his update.
Yes.
So
Appreciate it.
I gave him the assist.
Yep.
I gave him the lob, and he dunked it.
Absolutely.
He did not get rim checked.
Speaking of which, did you see that half-court oop from Kyrie last night?
Yes.
And that was who was it? It was Gafford on the other end, I think.
His level of talent equals his crazy.
Yeah.
And that's saying
And those
something.
they're both astronomical.
He is elite at 2 things.
Yeah.
That's why
Basketball and crazy.
Still looking for one. He's got 2. 2.
Yeah.
I mean, one's easier than the other. The basketball, of course.
Yes.
But because that level crazy.
That takes some effort.
Yeah. But Bucks Pacers tonight, Dame will be in the lineup, and that line keeps creeping down, man.
Down to 5.5.
That is.
Because I believe I heard my way in during Dirt and Sprague this morning that it was at 8.5.
It was at 8.5,
Yeah.
and then Dame got listed as questionable. It dove down to 6.5, and now we're down to 5.
And it was at 7.5 like during the day. So, and I'm assuming that was just money moving that. But good to know Dame's worth a point or two in these playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's worth a hell of a lot more than that. Rip City knows that. But this is going to be interesting because age has shown with Dame over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he's been able to grind through and battle through a lot of injuries, but he's got an Achilles now. He's going to try to power through it. It's been a struggle for him. And I don't know what percentage of Lillard we're going to get.
Right.
But he's got to be able to carry this team because they need that punch coming into Game 6 tonight.
Yeah, well, and it makes you think about all the spate of calf and related Achilles injuries that we've seen in the league.
Yeah.
Recently. Nobody has been immune.
It's similar to, I really think that as we sit back and we look at like this run and like the 10 years on either side of where we're at right now, like 2014 to 2034, right?
Mhm.
I think we're going to look back in 20 or 30 years and be like, sports specialization led to the elbows going out in baseball,
right?
The Achilles and the strain that you put by just playing this much basketball for this long,
Mm-hmm.
and what it does to your body. I mean, it's really hard, especially when you're over 6'3", right?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it even more pronounced on the strain you're putting on your ligaments. And I think we're gonna look back and be like, God, that was dumb. You know, as we do with, I mean, just think of it in this way. Like you go back 20 or 30 years and what we were doing for our body. Hell, 50 years ago, it was like, is working out, like, does that really help you that much in sports performance?
Yeah,
or can you Babe Ruth it?
Or is it just putting too much work on your body?
Yeah, well.
Too much wear and tear.
Turns out lifting weights is good.
To an extent.
Playing basketball, 365 days a year for 15 years, your body's going to give up. Can't handle it.
And here comes that old phrase that lots of people love to hate. Moderation is key.
You're right, though.
It sucks.
You're right. You're right. Other game tonight, 6:00, Knicks, Sixers. This has been such a fun series.
Speaking of somebody who might be worth a point or two, Scott Foster, the crew chief, tonight for that one.
No.
Oh, I wonder what his parlay is.
We're going to have a Scott Foster show.
I saw a stat today.
Okay.
During the regular season, league-wide, home teams won 54.3% of the time, a win percentage of 543.
Just a little over half.
In Scott Foster officiated games, the home team won 66.1% of the time.
Whoa.
That is 12% more than 54%.
I think he was really gunning for 66.6 to get that whole 666. He's the devil.
With the home teams winning by an average of 7 points a game.
Whoa.
The spread is at 3.5.
Whoa. I think, well, since we do have Scott Foster officiating this game, with those numbers that you have said, with the fact that Scott Foster has at every turn bent over backwards to appease the league itself, and maybe not the game and respecting the game. We're going to see a Game 7 in Madison Square Garden, which is what the NBA desperately wants, and I think we're going to get.
Well, and I'm not sure if this is a real nickname for Scott Foster, or if it's Barstool just being cheeky, but they called him the Extender.
That's perfect for him. Extending series left and right.
Right?
Let's
So,
go.
If it holds true, then yeah, we'll have a Game 7 on Saturday at Madison Square
Wow.
Garden. Which could there be a better thing in sports? Game 7 at MSG?
No, I
Like, and I'm not one of those that says, "Oh, the league is better when New York's good."
I fall victim to that, just being like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Good basketball is good basketball. But when the Knicks are good and when Madison Square Garden is rocking, like there's drama filled in that arena. Like you can feel it. It's palpable.
Feel
like
it in my plums.
You can feel it through your TV too. But there is something to that energy feeding off. Like, and I think that players always used to say this about Moda Center and the Rose Garden, is that it was a really difficult place to play because of the energy. And if you've been to a Blazers playoff game, you feel that energy come through. And not every arena is like that.
Right.
I mean, it really isn't. And MSG, you do feel it.
Speaking of that too, with Portland and the Moda Center and whatnot, it's amazing how some of the local Northwest spots here have been famous for just being so loud between Moda Center and like Autzen, MacArthur Court,
Quest Field up in Seattle too, and Key Arena back in the day, man, that place used to get rocking for the Sonics too. And look, Schultze, did you go up to the Mariners playoff game?
I did not catch the 18-inning marathon. Thank God, honestly.
I mean, well, people said though that game for like the first 11 was awesome environment, and it was buzzing up there.
Yeah.
Baseball, you never really get that. I will still say the coolest sporting event I've ever been to was when I went to Game 3 of the World Series down in Houston.
Oof.
And it is a World Series game. You get the environment of a college football game, but for 4.5 hours of baseball.
Yeah.
Like people are standing up the whole time. They are yelling. It's loud. You can feel like the reverb of people screaming at the top of their lungs. It was an incredible environment. Like it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it because of how electric those big game environments are. And MSG does that.
Yep.
They're desperate for the Knicks to be decent.
Yes. Thanks, James Dolan.
And they're good.
Yeah.
Despite James Dolan and Tom Thibodeau playing his guys 53 minutes in a playoff game.
Just run them into the ground.
Run them all into the ground. I'm excited for tonight, though. I hope we do get a couple Game 7s because we have the opportunity to have both these games or series go to 7, and then that's a short turnaround.
Yep.
For the conference semifinals, which will be on Monday. Both of them starting Monday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And so it's the winner of
these two games.
Well, right, but the winner Sixers Knicks plays the Celtics, correct? No.
The winner of these two games tonight will play each other in the conference semis.
There we go.
Because Magic Cavs will go to Boston.
That's right. We already talked about that.
Yep. All right, we get you set for prime time with a couple of housekeeping issues with some of the sports ethical questions we have posed today. Maybe that's the way we'll put it.
Fair enough.
All right, Danny and Dusty, Rusty and Dusty edition on the Fan. Langdon Farms Golf Club. It's coming up Thursday, July 11th, out at Langdon Farms. We're going to have morning and afternoon rounds that you can choose from. We're going to have the fan golf experiences all throughout the course, as always, which is food, booze, some other things that are out there. We've had a wide variety. We've had like massages at one time. We've had the children's course is usually out there. Like we usually have we run the gamut.
Yeah. Well, you had me at food and booze.
Well, that is very important.
Yeah.
And when you look at the list of sponsors that always jump at the opportunities, they excel in those categories.
They do.
We'll have the Michelob Ultra driving range that you can get warmed up on. We're going to be broadcasting live out there. Dirt and Sprague, Isaac and Souk will all be live throughout all of Thursday from Langdon Farms. Again, it is the 10th annual Fan Golf Classic. It's going to fill up fast. Get your foursomes in. Let's get this thing going. Go to 1080thefan.com to sign up. And I am looking forward to... We have the rotating cast of hosts that go out to the par 3 6th hole.
Yes.
And take some shots.
I remember hanging out back there
Yeah.
for a bit last year.
Yeah, we take shots.
Yes. Hit a couple balls too.
That also happens
Yeah.
there. And it's going to be brought to you by our good friends at Doers. So there will be drinks a-flowing and good times to be had. So go and sign up at 1080thefan.com.
Good times.
I love that the amount of time it takes you, Rust, to get from our studio to the course, it's a good 15 miles that you've got to go. You're there in like 12 minutes. Last year, you were there by like 3:10, and our show got done at 2:55.
Yeah, well, no, I had to sit down and finish some podcasting stuff first.
You were out
I was out there pretty quick. Hey, and to be fair, I think it was a lot because the I-5 gods were smiling on me that day.
Yeah.
Things didn't slow down until I got pretty far down south, so right about Wilsonville.
Hey, that's where I live.
Yeah.
You live in Wilsonville?
I do. And I loved coming to Langdon last year because it was literally like an 8-minute drive, not even from my
Yeah,
house.
you could throw a dead cat and hit it.
Pretty much.
Perfect. All right, so we you posed the question of, could Joey Chestnut beat Usain Bolt in a race if they both had to eat a hot dog before they ran 100 meters?
Yes.
We have some interesting qualifiers here. Is this just like we walk out and we get this thing going, or is there time to train?
Ooh. Well,
because if Bolt trains, that takes everything out.
What do we get? Let's give him a week of training.
I think a week is fair.
Think that's fair?
I think
feel
a
like
week
it's
is
not
fair.
overdoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rufio brought up the question on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. The hot dog 100-meter race needs to happen amongst fan personalities.
Ooh, that could be a good one.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, I would do terribly at it. I'd do very bad. I am a slow eater.
Yeah. I'm a slow eater too, and I'm an even slower runner.
See, this is going to be real tough for you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I'm sure that's a shock to no one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rufio's pointing out he thinks Ortner is going to be the champion of this. I think that's a good bet.
That's
there.
a good bet
It's
because I bet he could have the speed on the hot dog.
Yeah, I mean,
See, big people, you'd think they do well in eating competitions, but it's not always the case.
yeah, but he is. See, this is where I think he does well.
He's still young and spry. Not too far removed from college.
Well, and he's formerly fat, so
Yeah.
if you give the former fat guy the opportunity to house a dog, he's gonna do it,
Absolutely.
and he will. I think he would thrive at that. I think it would be really good. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me in.